What is up, fellow Grunge Bible followers and the people of the world? My name is Ethan Shalloway, joined by Chris Salona, and this is another episode of the Grunge Bible Podcast, and we are stoked to have you here. First thing we do is we like to ask how we're doing. So, Chris, how are you today?
How am I doing? It's episode 119 of the Grunge Bible Podcast. How do you think I'm doing? I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, man.
And Ethan, I have to say, before I say what I have to say, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Yep, I'm doing awesome. My body feels good, a good mental space that we'll get into later. And yeah, dude, it's Thursday. We're recording a little morning pod. We had a little bit of some technical troubleshooting to happen this morning.
Right.
But otherwise, I'm doing awesome.
Yeah, which, that technical troubleshooting, it was necessary for various reasons. But I have to say, if you're listening to us right now, or if you're watching us, you may notice that there is something a little different about how this podcast is going down. And that would be the sweet tones of our voices are even sweeter now, because thanks to a lot of movement behind the scenes, we did it, guys. We finally did it. We've got microphones. We're set up. We've got interfaces. We are plugged in. We're in the big leagues now. So congratulations to us.
We jumped up like 4 levels, and it's so funny because we were bitching and moaning for so long. And then all of a sudden, like that, we bumped up. We both got our microphones. We have a little bit, we have our gear, dude. We have it, and
it feels good to be set up.
Yeah, it feels good. It makes you wonder why it took us so long, but
yeah, it took us 118 episodes. It took us like 2.5 years to finally do this. But you know why? It's because the snowballs were great. The snowballs were great. Like that was
grunge.
Yeah. The snowballs were absolutely incredible. The snowballs were very grunge. They served the purpose. It just goes to show you what you can do with a couple of $40 microphones. But now we're in the big leagues with the Shure SM7s. This is producer's choice. We are hopefully making Drew McFadden's job much more enjoyable and much easier. But it goes without saying, we're in a very celebratory mood because of this. But goes without saying that we would not be here without the support of everybody along the way. It takes a village to make this show, because we're supported by the people who listen to it and the people who value it, and it takes the contribution from everybody. Your time or your financial support, and we've certainly gotten a lot of that that has made this possible. So at this time, I would like to begin to thank a few people that have made this possible, this big upgrade now that we're in the big leagues, but also, just the day-to-day. It's encouraging to see people support us in this way. And I'm happy to say, Ethan, that we do have a new Patreon supporter, fresh for this week, fresh for episode 119. Joining in the fray at the $2 level, I would like to thank John Harvey for hopping aboard. So John, wherever you may be, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for checking out the show.
Those are the people we need. We need 100 John Harveys to sign up for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
because
that's like that whole thing.
We don't need.
Yeah.
We don't need the big ones all the time. We just need consistent small donations of $2, a month. Like I said, your cup of coffee. We're all drinking it right now, I'm sure. Monday morning, you're listening. So we just need a bunch of them. So please think about it. $2. That's it.
Absolutely. So we're very thankful for John, and there are a lot of people who could be like John out there. Maybe it's you as you're hearing me talk about this,
right?
Or maybe you want to see yourself in this next group that I'm about to thank, which are our $10 supporters on Patreon, who give us $10 a month, and they help make the show sustainable. They help make it happen, and they help make us make the upgrades that we need. We've got some good things coming. We've really been hammering the phone lines, trying to get some different individuals on, and I think we're really close to a few that you're really going to enjoy. So this is what makes it possible. So I would like to thank at this time our $10 supporters on Patreon. And their names are Alex Long, Black Hole Sean, The Blue Owl, Brother Nature, Captain Hightop, Carrot Cake, Corden Stewart, Doug Endy, and we're going to get to this in a little bit. We've got a little bit more about Doug Endy pretty soon. Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce. Epona, Eric R. Berry, Faith Bittner, Fresh Tendonitis, Fuck Soup, Granny Grunge, Jade Mercado, Jamie Lynn, Carly and Salona, Keith White, Chris LSMS, Laura Nyreen, Marianne, Millie, Nikki Six, Rachel Corning, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, Sherry Matthews, and What the Fuck's Up Denny. So thank you to all of those individuals for your steadfast support of this show. We sound better today because of you.
Yes, we do. And it was a long road to get here, but we are very happy to be here. And yeah, so to espouse a few more details on the our patron and Doug Endy and how we, finished the final, I guess, finished completing the balance we needed. I don't know how to say
it got us to our goal. You remember, Ethan, when you were a kid, like doing the bake sale, they would have that big meter in school, and you got to fill in the markers. Like, hey, we're at like 30% of our goal, and then when you reach the next milestone, you got to color it in. We were starting to get close to our goal, and needless to say, word got around, and Doug Endy found out that we were close to our goal.
Yeah, so I was home for a track meet this weekend in New York. And we'll get to it. And Doug texted me to congratulate me. And he's at the end of it, he said, and by the way, how much are the microphones that you need for the pod? And I was like, hey, thank you. I was like, it's this. And without any more dialogue, he just said, I just sent some money to the Grunge Bible Venmo. Let me know if you got it. And I texted Chris, and you were in bed, and you all of a sudden you were calling me, and you're like, what's going on? And I was like, Doug wants to see us improve and get to the next level. And just like that, he just felt inclined, and he loves what we're doing, and he said it's great. And that's it, man, dude. He stepped up, and it's amazing. He's a great support. He's been a great supporter of the pod for a long time, supporter of my life, and I love it. I love the generosity.
Yeah, Doug is everything that you should be, and this is not the first experience that we've had with his generosity. Obviously, each month he's supportive of us through his status as a $10 a month supporter on Patreon. But additionally, way back last year when we were going to the Taylor Hawkins tribute show in Los Angeles, we went with his son, Connor, really, really great dude. And Doug paid it forward at that time too, and he paid for his son's ticket to the Taylor Hawkins tribute show.
Oh, yeah.
I had purchased the tickets, and the next thing you know, Doug was like, I wanna do this for my son. And that's the type of contribution you can make on people if you're in a position to do so. You can give them experiences, and you can give them a vote of confidence, and you can do something for them. And Doug did that. He does it every month, and he did it in a big way that I don't even know how to properly thank him for this, for his support. It really it floors me, and it humbles me. Yeah,
there's some people out there that are just supporters. You know what I mean? They don't mind doing the extra work and getting some skin in the game, as we like to say. And he's one of those guys. There's some people that they have things that they support, and that's what they do. They support their local artists, their local coffee shop, the regulars, and it's a good way to live by. So I strive to be like that as well.
Yeah, 100%. So things really have come to a head lately in the Grunge Bible podcast sphere. We've made a lot of improvements, and things are also coming to a head in another area that is very important to us as friends, and you as a professional, as a competitor. So as we do from time to time on the Grunge Bible podcast, we hammer the music, we have people on, we talk about music, but there comes points in time where we need to kind of discuss what's going on with us, and what's new and what's on the horizon. And Ethan, this episode is coming out July 3rd, and this week that the episode comes out, you're heading into the USA Track and Field Championships in Eugene, Oregon, right, which is the pinnacle. This is what it's all about right here. And I'm excited to kind of take some time today and chat about this because, obviously, we've done this podcast for 119 weeks in a row. We've done the page for 7 years. We're very passionate about music, but track and field, javelin, is a passion that even predates grunge, and certainly predates Grunge Bible for us. And it's very important to us, and it's very important for you. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about, we're heading into, this will be your, is this your 4th US championship, correct?
Yes. Yeah. 4th US championship. I started, I guess, when I was probably 16 years old. I was a sophomore, so 28 now. It's about 12 years. And like you said, this track and field is what brought us together. Put us on the same team, same college. Let our friendship grow. The music helped us through all the time we were training. So it's very well stitched into the fabric of Grunge Bible too. So Yeah, this is the fourth. I think I qualified for my first championship in 2019, so right after college. Probably should have been able to qualify during college, but I didn't quite get there, and I decided to keep going. And since then, since the last 4 years, we've seen a lot of growth and just persistence. Persistence pays, and I'm very happy to be where I am right now.
Absolutely. And as one of your closest friends and having the background that we did of being introduced to one another because we were teammates, I've had a very unique position to kind of watch your progression. And this year it really feels like all of the contributions and all of the effort from, the last 12 years of your life, with the javelin, are coming to a head this week. And it's really exciting. So currently, as it stands on the world rankings list at the time that we're recording this, you're ranked 39th. Is that correct?
That is, yes.
39th in the world, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So 2 weeks ago, I was ranked, I think, 67th after I had a few opportunities. And then, the way that it's set up, and I just was throwing a little bit under maybe what I should have been at a few of the bigger meets. So I had two good opportunities, and I knew that if I threw well, I'd give myself a really good shot at the US Championships to maybe make a team. And that's exactly what we bumped. After the first one, we bumped up to 57, and then we just bumped another, 18 spots to 39. And we're sitting in a crazy spot where, dreams could come true in next week. I mean, I don't want, I don't want to overplay it, but that's exactly what it is. Like I joined, or I decided to continue training to see where I could go. And my ultimate goal is to make the Olympic team, and that's next year. But this year is a world championship team. So if people out there listening, Olympics come every 4 years, and the world championships come every 2 years on the off years. And then there's one without a major championship. So the qualifications to compete at the Olympics are the same as the world championships. You have to be top 36 in the world or have the competition standard. Those are the two qualifying points. And then you have to finish top 3 at the US with one of those marks. So right now, sitting 39, if I have a really good showing and I finish at the podium at USA's, I'm more than likely going to bump into the top 36, and then I'll have I'll have a spot on the team. And that is exactly what I'll have to do next year. So, kind of doing it this year would give me the confidence and give me everything I need to go and take care of that next year. And one of my big goals continuing throwing was to compete for and represent the USA. So we're closer than we've ever been, Chris. I can't believe it,
Yeah, we have been. And I can't overstate the fact that, for everyone listening out there, whether you're a sports enthusiast or not, I mean, you're 39th in the entire world. So out of everybody who's doing this thing, this is where you are. And the process to get in, to get to this point it's track and field, especially, if you're not one of the higher caliber sprinters, it's really a thankless endeavor. There's no financial incentive to do it.
Right.
There's no press coverage. There's no kind of external factors that would really make you want to do it. And especially in the United States, the path as a post-collegiate athlete and the path as a professional athlete in a discipline such as this, it's really, really tough sledding. And I think a lot of times you get these athletes, they come out of college rather, and all of the support that you get at a powerful collegiate program goes away. You don't have access to athletic trainers. You don't have access to strength and conditioning facilities. You don't have access to, throwing facilities. There's a whole lot. And to see you to see you weather the storm as you have, and to put yourself in a position, despite all of that adversity, despite all of the logistics that are against you, to get into this position is really, really incredible. And it's been such a long path. And we've said it before. It's like, some people may have forgotten, but you're living it every day, and you've never forgotten why you're here, and you've never let that passion even dwindle for a minute, which is really, really unbelievable. And it's the only way that you can get to the spot that you're in now.
Absolutely. We had the meet in New York, and it was a high level meet. And my family was able to come out because they were only 2 hours away. So I had the family there, and wins are hard to come by, especially when you're facing the top guys in the US all the time. And there's all the same couple teammates and all the people that are going to be there in 2 weeks. And to come out with the W, was really important for confidence, for everything moving forward. And you know, it's one of those things where, you get really excited to think about that you have an opportunity to, make dreams come true. And, because now if I were to, I thought about, all the times that it'd be awesome to throw a personal best at, an important time and have it mean the most. And to have a position where, that could actually come true. Cause if I were just going and competing, and even if, you win, I mean, it's really validating, but then it's also, to have it actually accomplish something to get to the next level is pretty special. And one thing that I've been thinking about a lot in this past year, and somebody, everybody always says that they want to prove the haters wrong, right? There's a lot of people that are rooting against you and stuff. And for me, it's not about that. My goal is to prove the support system right. I want to prove the people that believed in me that it was real, that they were right in believing me, and it means so much more than the people that don't pay attention and want to see me do bad. I don't even care about them. I'd rather see the people that have entrusted and supported me. I want them to be happy just as much as I am. So that's kind of my driving force, is to prove people like you and me that we weren't crazy when we decided when I was like, I got to keep doing this, and you were like, you got to. And so that's my main driving force right now, I think.
Yeah, because people invariably, to the outside mind, I think, a pursuit like this, because, it's not financially very lucrative, and it's time consuming, and it's physically demanding. I mean, you put yourself through physical trials and strength and conditioning workouts and just the pounding on your body and the mileage. I mean, that has a cost, obviously. There's a lot of deposits that you've made to go into this. But something that's really interesting, Ethan, and we talk about this, and we've talked about it a lot, as it just relates to life and as it relates to music, is just the passage of time. You've been at it as a post-collegiate. This is your fourth year out, or fifth year out rather, as a post-collegiate athlete. And I think, you learn a lot as a collegiate athlete, as I did, and as you certainly did, carrying yourself as a high caliber collegiate athlete, the professionalism aspect, the preparedness aspect, the thoroughness. But I think that really gets ratcheted up a few notches when you become a post collegiate, when you become a professional. So what are some of the things that you've learned over the last 5 years? Because at this point, it's kind of weird to say, we're sitting here like you're a fairly seasoned professional athlete at this point. You've been at it for 5 years. That's a long time. What are some of the things that you've learned along the way that you needed to learn to put you in a good position to be competitive at this level? Because it's obviously quite different from college, and certainly different from high school.
Right. A big thing is, like you talked about, when you're in high school, everybody is stay behind you and wanting to see you do well because you have your whole life in front of you. And same with college. You have a big support system because you're a part of the team, you're a part of that. And then once you get outside of that, you're by yourself. And when you don't do well, I don't want to say no one cares, but no one cares when things are going bad and things are not working and the struggles that you have. So it becomes a very personal journey and endeavor that and reminded every day that it's up to you. It's up to you to be motivated. You're not going to have somebody there, a coach pushing you the way you are used to. It's a different type of relationship. So, it's kind of being able to hone in on exactly why I want to keep doing this and understanding that it's more personal than anything to get to the next level. And that has been probably the most important thing to continue. I think that at the end of the day, it's not easy. It's not easy to sacrifice. And, I've been away from family for a while. And I think understanding that the sacrifices will pay off in the end is always something that you have, that you are, holding on to and believing. So I think there's more sacrifices than I thought, being away it takes longer than you think. I was just training this kid the other day, and we did some testing after a month or whatever. And he's like, I've been doing it every day. Why have I not gotten as better? Then I was like, I learned at a very, early age that just because you put in the hard work doesn't mean you're going to get the results you want.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. Just because you put in the time, just because you put in the work does not mean that you're going to instantly get the result you want. And that's why you have to if you continue to do it and you continue to, do the right things diligently, I believe that it does come to fruition, but the timing is never as you see it. And that has easily been the most important thing to remember throughout all of this. And you can see that in business. You can see that in, the podcast or the page. Like, just because it didn't happen in 2 years, you got to wrap it up and like give yourself a window. Like if I don't hit this mark in 2 years, or if I don't hit this many, engagements or whatever, then I'm done. Like that's not a good way to look at it. You gotta be able to push past that and to know why you're doing it. So, that's really been big. It's like, I'm putting in the hard work, but so is everybody else. And you don't just get rewarded for your hard work. You have to really put it together and be strategic in the way you do it. So, there's a lot of luck involved as far as injuries and consistent training. There's things that you can't control.
Right.
So you just have to work through all those challenges, and that's the name of the game. And that's why it can be as rewarding as anything when you get to the place that you want to be. But yeah, man, it's been quite the freaking journey. It's not been easy. That's for sure.
No, it certainly hasn't. I'm glad you touched upon, effort just kind of being the standard, because,
right.
From my collegiate career, that was probably the biggest takeaway that I had. I had a coach, he was the multi-event and the sprints and the hurdles coach at Iowa State at the time that I was there, and that was his big thing. He's like, like when you're in high school, the people who work hard are successful, and that's what people talk about. It's like, when you work hard, that's going to generate success. So if you work hard, like you're gonna reap what you sow. But when it comes, the higher level that you get, that's just the standard. That's the baseline, and there's nothing in those contributions and those efforts that not entitle you, but there's nothing that automatically gains you certain performances and certain successes. And, that's just a testament to how difficult these levels are, and how technical of a sport, especially the javelin is, throwing events are, and just that process. And, when you have, all of these people laying it on the line, we always talk about what you're doing being an honorable pursuit. And that's exactly what it is. And I think there's a lot of applicable lessons to something like this. Like, no matter what it is, and no matter how central of a point it is in your life, I think everybody's got to have something that they give themselves to, and they give 100% effort to. There's not a guarantee of success, and there's not a guarantee of results just because of effort. But I'm a firm believer too. There's no failure in effort, and there's always something to be gained from like truly and completely 100% going in on something. It feels good to do it. I think as humans, we're designed to want to do something like that. We're designed to yearn for those moments where like we put everything that we possibly can into something. And you certainly have for a long time. And we're at the point now where, you didn't throw a personal best for 5 years. And 5 years, the effort remains unchanged, and you're just like banging your head against a wall, and you hadn't gotten anything better to show for it. And then, when you can see through those times and not let that effort, dwindle, and not let the discipline dwindle, that's how long it takes sometimes. I mean, that's the same thing with weightlifting. Yeah. I mean, there's weightlifters who haven't PR'd their clean and jerk in 6 years, but they keep coming back. They keep showing up. And I think, and I want to get your thoughts on this, but probably the older you've gotten, the more you've realized that it's just it's the consistency thing. It's not about, coming in and just like hammering away on a Monday afternoon and like crushing yourself, because you have to be sustainable and you have to be consistent, because those, the further in you get to something, the less low hanging fruit there is. Exactly.
And, I talk about it in weightlifting a lot too, is, just because you've squatted 500 before, when you get under the bar, you have to respect the weight. You can't get under there and just assume that you're going to be able to go down and go up. If you're unstable and you have some instability at some point, it doesn't matter how strong you are, because all of a sudden you're put in a position where you can't work out of. And that's the same thing. Like, just because you're super talented and I see people all the time, they're super talented, they've making gains in practice, they think it's just going to show up at the meets. Well, if you don't respect the 80-meter line, like it's not just going to show itself because you put in, just because it should. Because if you mess the flight of the javelin by a little bit, you lose 3 meters, and then you're at 77, and and that's just not, that's not the same. 3 meters is a massive difference. And again, what you were saying, how I didn't PR for 5 years. So I graduated college with a PR of 69 meters, and I I always, I pride myself in my work ethic, how I train hard, and that was a lot of it. Like I put so much into it for those 5 years, and ever since I got to college, where it was confusing and it was discouraging. I was like, how is it not going as far? And so the next year, so I went 69. The next year I threw 74. Then we had COVID year. Then I went 77. Then I threw 80, and then I'm at the year I am now. And like I said, it took 5 years to get from 69 to 74. And what I like to say is during that time, 70 meters was a barrier and it was extremely hard to hit. And while I was trying to hit 70, that's when I learned how to throw 80 basically. And so I'm putting in all this work. I'm learning some technical stuff, and I'm figuring out the event. So when I hit 70 and I finally got over that hump, I was able to I had gained so much knowledge along the way that I think it made getting to 80 meters a little bit easier in a way. And if that makes sense, where you put so much work at a lower end, where then it wasn't accelerated. It's still been 5 years since that time, and it's been long. But the consistency and the growth over the last few years have been a little bit more steady, and I think that's just because of all the work I put in that moment when I plateaued, when I was stuck. And there's a lot of times when you get stuck in certain endeavors, and you're just grinding and you're trying to figure it out, and you got to believe that you're just climbing the roller coaster, and at some point you're going to come down the other side, and all that information, all that experience that you have shows itself at one time or across of a couple years. Because in reality, the 5 years is a long time, but it's also not that long. And then these past 5 years, it's been a long time, but it also seems like it's happened so quick, and you're improving each time fast. So I would say that, it's like that meme or that picture where the guy's mining and he gets right to the end and he decides to stop digging, and right behind there is a bunch of diamonds. You never know how close you are to breaking through.
Right.
And what was your question right before that? You said, what was it? Either way, I don't know. I thought I answered a different question, but
no, that was the answer, man.
Yeah. So it's been I really think that it's hard to pick. You have a bunch of different coaches and you learn different things, and it's tough when coaches maybe take credit, be like, oh, I told them this one thing and it worked. And it's the body of work. I mean, I thank my high school coaches. I thank my first college coach. I thank my training partners, my second coach at Kentucky, my coach now. Everybody has a little bit of piece, and a piece of the pie, and you never know when that piece of information comes back to you, and you get the inspiration that you need to figure something out. So it's crazy. It's crazy how much experience plays, and you can't fake that. You can't make up experience, and you can't fake confidence either. Everybody's be confident in your training. It's well, if you aren't, you can't. That's not something that you can really just make up and just
It's not a decision that you can make to be confident.
Not true confidence. I mean, you can fake it till you make it and do your best, but that real understanding that you are in a good spot is you're healthy and your body's going to hold up. I mean, I faked it many times and it didn't work. I tried to tell myself and it's it didn't work. But then you get to a point where it's actually believe and understand, and that's where we're at now, and that's why I feel so good finally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something for me too that I notice in you, that I think undoubtedly assists you just in your progression and your mindset, and it's been I think it's contributed to your success. Whenever you talk javelin with you, or you talk about track and field, you just get this unbridled sense of joy that comes from you, and this liveliness and just all of those positive elements. You've dedicated yourself to it, and you've gotten so much joy out of the event, and you contribute so much positive energy to it that I think it just radiates when I talk to you about it, and you can see it in action when you train. I mean, that's the thing. People love the results, but I think you truly love the training. You love the consistency. You love turning the doorknob every day to go. And I think that mindset of, having like you said, the respect for the event, but also just approaching it with joy and approaching it, with positivity. I think is really, really important, because you can't fake that either. And if you do fake it, or if you don't have it, there's, elite athletics will find a way to bury you. There's a Bruce Springsteen lyric, and it says, "I've seen champions come and go." I mean, you've been at this a long time, and there's a lot of people that were there when you got there, and they're no longer here. And you arrived. There's been a lot of people that have arrived after you, and they're also not here either. It's been a long road. It's been a really, really long road, but you're still there. And your best throwing is still ahead of you. Your best performances are still ahead of you, which is the buy-in, the buy-in of the last 12 years. It's finally the chips are on the table.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's like Robin Williams said in which was it, Good Will Hunting or Dead Poets, where like you're just happy to have the balls to ante up
again. Good Will Hunting. Yep. You played a big hand, and you got to ante up again. See where your chips fall.
And yeah, I feel really going in. So obviously nothing is set in stone. I need to perform well next week. I could shit the bed and then all of a sudden we're back to square one. Right. But I'm not going to do that. I'm really confident. And like I said, at the end of the day, at least I put myself in a position where exciting things are happening or can happen. And that's all I can ask for is opportunity. And, to take opportunity as it comes is really fun. And, we talk about having stuff to look forward to in life and other events, and, doing this and having a national championship every year and having the Olympics every 4 years. It's like an immediate something to look forward to work for, and the ultimate goal in our sport. Obviously I want to do well if I make these teams, but I take it step by step. Like I need to make the team first before I can start setting goals about making making a final or coming away with a medal.
Yeah.
Step by step. And I always tell them, 1% better every day. And that's it. If you're out there and you haven't started something you want to, or you're scared because you don't want to be bad at it, like just do it and believe that every day you do something to get a little bit better. And after 100 days, 200 days, you'll be surprised of how far you can come with just the dedication of just a little bit of effort and being a little more consistent. And that is, my little brother. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but he threw at Wake Forest and he's done a little bit after college, and he had more injuries than I did. He had some surgeries, and I just told him, I said, hey man, just train, an hour a day. Nothing, you don't even need to be specific. Just set yourself up for, and when you try and cram, when you try to cram it all in at once, then your body is hurting. And you need to spread it out and think long-term. Small deposits over a long period of time is better than a whole lot at once. Like, trying to cram it in and do it all at once, that's not how you sustain really good, you can't just brush your teeth for an hour to get rid of cavities. You have to do it every day.
Make up for it.
Yeah. You can't just, double your time. Brushing your teeth or something. I'm trying to think of another example. You can't just do it all at once. You got to really spread it out and be consistent with it. Put it part of your routine. That's how you make good changes, and that's how you are more healthy overall. It's exciting, man.
Yeah, it really is. And as we kind of close this conversation down, I can't help but notice there's a lot of parallels, I think, between athletics and music and the making of both of those, because I think they're on the same level. I mean, high level athletics and high level music, they're both great art. And everybody has their own unique fingerprints that they apply towards getting to where they want to get. And every great performance is equal parts hard work, passion, a little bit of magic, a little bit of luck. There's just so many things going for it. And I think that passion that the great artists have for their art and the respect they have for it completely parallels, the respect and the passion that great athletes have towards their craft. And it's that ability, day in and day out to get up and make a conscious choice to get better at it and to survive the hard times, to get to the point where we're at right now, where we head into the US Championships this upcoming week. And another thing, this conversation reminds me of a quote from Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, just talking about how long of a road this is and how it's not for the faint of heart. He wrote once, "The cowards never started and the weak died along the way. That leaves us."
Yeah. Oh, gives me chills, man. I love it.
That leaves us.
I think the parallel to music is really important too. And if you're out there and you're an artist and it's been a few years and you're not catching your break that you're looking for, continue making the art because honestly, I think same thing. If I would have been, you see a lot of people in the sport, they're successful at a young age and they don't cherish it. They don't cherish the journey or cherish the achievements. And then you have people like me and other artists out there where they grind for 10 years and then they get their opportunity. And then it's everything they've worked for, everything that they've dedicated, they've sacrificed. And I am so thankful for my journey. I think it's just, head over heels better than being good at it in the beginning. Like I wouldn't have learned as much as I did. I wouldn't have traveled and met so many people I probably would be ignorant to and thinking I knew it all and I had it figured out. And you're more humble when you have these journeys, and it's the same thing. And so artists out there, like, don't give up, keep at it, because at any point, you can go back into you're gonna have a song or you have an album that makes it, and then they're gonna go back and look at your other stuff you've done, and they're gonna appreciate it more because of whether it's because they saw your success and they go, oh, maybe this isn't so bad, and they can retroactively like it. But I mean, if it's sincere and it was dedication, it doesn't go unnoticed when you finally get there. And lastly, I was actually talking to John Kranger of The Social Act, and this will go perfectly into our next segment. So they have an album coming out in the fall, and they've been a double album. It's been, they've been working for about 2 years on it now with everything that went on with COVID, pushed them back, and they were able to, they've just been working really a long time at it, and they work on, they're a live performing band, so there's a lot of stuff on their YouTube. And we talk about it, and he's very excited for me and telling me how awesome it is. And for them, you work a year and a half for an album, and then you play a show, and the show happens in an hour. And it's like we played and practiced for so long, and then the show happens like that. It's done. And same with my competition. I put so much work into it, and in a week I'm gonna have an hour-long competition. And then it's done. Yep. And everything that, and you
it's like
can't,
6 seconds down the runway and the jab's away and that's it.
Yeah, but total competition time of like, a minute, where I'm standing there, and it happens so fast. So you have to fall in love with the journey. And then when, and it happens with artists too, like when the album comes out, you get praise and you're going to be in the limelight for a period of time. And then, it moves on and you move on to the next thing. So yeah, the build up for albums and for playing music live is a long time for a lot of these artists, where you put so much work into it and then it happens like so fast, or people go to one show basically.
Absolutely.
So it's really, really similar. But yeah, John K, those guys are awesome at The Social Act. They're such a support with it, and they are true professionals, and they understand all the hard work that goes into them playing shows and making albums. So we love them so much.
Yeah, we really do, and we were lucky enough to have John Kranger and Ellis Clark from the Social Act Band on the Grunge Bible podcast back on episode 79. And once again, as we were talking about the parallel between athletics and music and art, these guys, like you said, they're in it for the right reasons, and these guys have run the gamut of all sorts of emotions, all sorts of experiences, the highs, the lows, the pain, the loss, the gaining, everything, but they still show up because they love their craft and they're passionate about it. And I think that's why, we've developed that friendship that we have with John of the Social Act Band. And, it's one of those things, it just gives me joy to know that they're out there making music and that they're still at it, after, 40 years of this thing and losing band members and struggling, with all sorts of different things in their public and private lives. And the fact that, you can regroup and write a new end to your story and, continue your story because, the right components are there inside of you, and you're able to get those out of you and into a shared space where a lot of other people have those same components. It's a really, really special thing, and I'm looking forward to that album. So we've got something coming from the Social Act at the end of this episode. But before we do that, I believe we have some songs of the week that we can get to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to use the Social Act as my song of the week. So I'll have you go first, and then we can close it out with them.
All right. Well, I am also picking a Social Act song.
Let's go.
So I think, Ethan, you're going to know what song I'm going to choose. And that would be Hey Yeah from, I believe, 2019. It's my favorite Social Act song. And who knows, I may have chosen this as a song of the week back when we had them on episode 79. But I just love the beginning of that song. It's a hard driving song, and the first lyrics from Ellis Clark: "Sunsets and I'm all right," and that just gets you feeling good. And at the end of the day,
that's amazing. Yeah, that is one of my favorites as well. So my song of the week is going to be "Judgment Day," and this was written by Ellis Clark back in 1988, and it's a song that we're going to play you out on, and we'll post the video. And so if you're looking to listen to them and check them out, their YouTube is the Social Act Band, and that's where they do. YouTube and Instagram is where they do most of their posting. They're not too big on Spotify, so check out their, because they have really good video, really good footage, and it'll play at the end of the YouTube if you're watching there, and we'll put some links. But yeah, Judgment Day, written by Ellis back in 88. And that's the crazy thing, off of Over the Berlin Wall. I mean, these guys have been at it for, almost 40 years.
The wall was still up when they wrote this. And he said, little did they know, the year after they released the double album called that, the wall came down in 89.
Yeah, it's crazy. And this is their title track of that album. And it's awesome. It's like I said, watching the footage, seeing these guys play live, it's a ton of fun. You got Steve Gillis on the drums from Filter, and he's just ripping away. Grant Ty on the guitar. And do you know he played with Grace Slick?
Oh, no kidding. Jefferson Starship, a little Starship action.
He's been around, so they got some big members part of their band. They're all virtuosos. So we're gonna leave you with that, with Hey Yeah and Judgment Day, the Social Act Band. We'll talk about them in the next coming weeks. And yeah, Chris, that's it, man. We got an exciting weekend ahead of us. That's for sure.
Yes, we do. I'm excited for what's to come. And regardless of the outcome, as your friend, man, like I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy for you for everything. Everything that you've been through and everything that you've put into this. This is you've earned this opportunity. You've earned these experiences, and you've earned the lessons that you've learned every step of the way, every single last percentage of it. You've earned it all. Yeah. You've done it your way. And yeah, man, I'm just proud of you. I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see what we do this week.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to give everybody a Team USA t-shirt or a hat or something from the
man,
everybody that's been a part of this journey, because I want to be able to give back at some point. But that'll be fun to have as a reminder of all the hard work, because it takes a village, just like everything in this life.
It sure does.
So can't wait to give an update next week, how it went. Until then, listen to the Social Act Band, listen to some music, and support your local smaller artists, because they're grinding out there. They're trying to make it work, and that's the dream, baby.
Absolutely. So we will talk to you all next week, but in the meantime, let's enjoy some Social Act Band. This is Judgment Day.
This year's life